What do you say we explore Arkansas's beautiful Mount Magazine? Mount Magazine isn't just an incredible place to hike, camp, or chase waterfalls. It's also the highest point in Arkansas, measuring 2,753 feet above sea level. But it doesn't stop there. Mount Magazine is also the highest point between the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains. Now, you're going to want to make sure you hang on till the end of the video because we're going to hike the beautiful Benefield Trail. Native Americans only occasionally lived on Mount Magazine. They tended to prefer the lower lands of the Arkansas River Valley. Settlers began to move to the mountain in the 1850s. In 2006, the lodge at Mount Magazine was opened. It boasts 60 guest rooms, a conference and business center, a fitness center, indoor pool, incredible views, and a beautiful rustic lobby. Imagine getting up and enjoying that first cup of coffee with a view like this. Right behind the lodge, there's a short trail called the Old Lodge Trail. The entire hike takes about 15 minutes, and generally, overall, it's considered an easy hike. However, there are a few spots that are a bit moderately difficult. But the views are fantastic. Now, keep in mind, there are steep drop-offs, so be careful and keep your kids close at hand. There are no rails. Of course, whenever we go someplace like this, I always give Pam a heart attack by getting just a little closer to the edge than she feels comfortable with. The view from the lodge is absolutely amazing. You see lakes, mountains, the valley. It's just absolutely gorgeous. If you want to come for a weekend, think about staying at the lodge here at Mount Magazine. It is beautiful. Just outside the lodge, there's a beautiful man-made waterfall. It's a great way to start the day. After we left the lodge, we took in the scenic views on Cameron Bluff Overlook Drive. You'll encounter more of the beauty of the natural state. If you enjoy watching butterflies, Mount Magazine has over 134 species of butterfly, including the rare Diana fritillary butterfly, which incidentally is the official state butterfly for Arkansas. I often wonder what French explorer Jean-Baptiste Bernard de la Harpe thought about Mount Magazine when he first saw it in 1722. The French thought it looked like a large barn, so they originally called it Barn Mountain. Then they called it Magazine Mountain, and finally Mount Magazine. Here you can still see the remnants of the old amphitheater built by the WPA in 1939. There were 24 rows of seats, and the community held Easter sunrise services and concerts there. But over time, weeds and ice loosened the stone and it was abandoned in 1970. However, a new, smaller amphitheater has been built, but it's not used quite as much as the old one was. I guess you could say times have changed. We hopped in the car again and decided to hike the Benefield Trail. Just take Highway 309 toward Havana, and when you come to the Pettit Jean Valley Overlook, park there. You can start the hike on either side of Highway 309. We started on the side where we parked. As we hit the trail, we quickly found out the views are absolutely spectacular. But again, there are really high cliffs that have no protection whatsoever, so be careful, especially if you have little ones with you or it's wet. The Benefield Trail is considered an easy to moderately easy hike. It almost seems redundant to say this, but at almost every turn, there's a spectacular view from the trail. It's an amazing feeling to hike within 2 or 3 feet of a sheer drop-off.
This particular feature really struck my fancy. The crag and the valley were spectacular. Next, you come to the stone staircase that takes you across Highway 309. As you head along the trail, you come upon a picnic area. This would be a wonderful place to sit down and have a picnic lunch. There are restrooms, grills, and picnic tables. It's really quite beautiful.
You can continue on the Benefield Trail and the Bear Hollow Trail from the picnic area. Elevation's at 2375. It's really cooled down. It feels great. It was a little warm when we first got here today. Now, as you follow the Benefield East Loop, you'll come to some stairs, and then you'll come to a sign where you can continue on with the Benefield East Loop by going to the right. But if you go to the left, there are some nice sights to be seen. And if you're so inclined, you can go down onto those rocks and take a picture, but imagine the sun coming up over those mountains. It'd be gorgeous. Now, a bit further down is Inspiration Point. However, we are running out of daylight, and so we want to get back before sunset or dusk even. Just something, that we do when you're older. After you get back on the trail, after looking at Inspiration Point and Sunrise Rock or Point, you have a bit of a descent. And it's kind of stony and a little bit easy to trip, so just be careful. But then after you get down to the bottom, you come to this wonderful overlook. And it's just more beauty from the natural state. All right, the mosquitoes are starting to arrive. So if you come out hiking, make sure you bring some good mosquito repellent.
I love how this boulder rests on the other stones, making a small natural bridge.
We're continuing toward the latter part of the trail. I'm starting to hear people talk and cars drive by, so I've got to assume we're getting close to the highway, and that means we're getting close to the end of the trail. And we've come to the end of the Benefield Trail. It was absolutely beautiful, and it wasn't a real hard hike. Pretty much anybody could do this hike. If you're a little older, you might want to bring some poles and wear a pair of good sturdy hiking boots.
We only got to scratch the surface of all the beauty on Mount Magazine. It was a good day.